Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Dr. Craig Harper from iProgress, and in this video I'll be providing you with an overview of our new course, which is about an introduction to university life. Now, if you're just starting university, this video should help you orient yourself in terms of what you'd be expecting to do, the different types of sessions you'll be in, how you can organize your time, give you some tips about workflows, but also about the kind of soft skills that maybe you don't get taught in classes, about how do you work in groups, what is things like critical evaluation, what does that mean? And also how do you write effective essays. So in this course, what we've done is we've designed a suite of sessions, a suite of lessons that you can access through one of our membership plans to give you an in-depth view of what it's like to be at university and how you can maximize your productivity and success throughout your degree. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is to overview some of the key themes of that course and get you to think about whether the full course might be for you. So if we start off with session types, you'll be thinking about different types of classes that you'll be in at university. You might be in lectures, you might be in seminars, you might have smaller tutorials, and each of these will have a different type of aura, I guess, a different type of atmosphere. It might be that in big lectures you're talking or being spoken at by a particular lecturer for maybe an hour or two about a specific topic, whereas in a seminar they're much more interactive, and again in smaller tutorial groups they're even more interactive than seminars, where you'll be developing skills in relation to referencing, argument formation and things like that. Now, if you think about what that actually means, you'll need to adapt to different ways of working, and to do that, setting a schedule will be really important. So in the course what we talk about is the importance of setting a schedule from right at the beginning of your university course, thinking about when your assessments are due, thinking about how you can maximize the time between your sessions. It might be that you're only in university for 10 hours a week maybe. Now, as a full-time student, that leaves you with around 20 to 25 hours of independent free time that you need to learn how to manage. Now, if you can sit down at the beginning of each term and map out when your classes are, when you need to be on campus, when your assessments are due, when some of those potential pinch points are in terms of when you'll have lots of work on, then you can start to map out where your free time actually is. When do you have a clear block of maybe 2 or 3 hours where you can focus on a particular topic? Now, one thing that we really talk about in our courses is the importance of deep focused work. If you can sit down and focus for 2 hours and just focus on one particular task, that's going to be much more productive for you than trying to sit down in the library for 6 or 7 hours trying to work on your lecture notes. What research has shown is that if you work deeply and focused for a couple of hours, that will double the amount of productivity that you would have if you were working for the same amount of time in a relatively shallow way, where you've got lots of different things open on your screen, where you're distracted by social media or the internet or emails. If you can focus specifically on one task for a couple of hours, then you'll be much more efficient in your productivity and in your study. What that means is that you can probably work for slightly less time overall while maximizing your productivity, maximizing your efficiency, and still being able to have time to enjoy that university experience that we know is important for lots of students. Now, developing workflows is going to be really important for you to maximize that efficiency whilst you're working in those deep focused ways. What we've done at iProgress is develop a Notion template that you can download from our website. There's a full academic planner, there's a module planner, and there's also a lecture notes organizer that you can get your hands on. There's also a video that I'll link down in the description that talks you through what that looks like and how to use it. But what we think is that this is one of the best ways that you can organize your academic life, organize your calendar, and get hold of the information that you need for the work that you're doing at that particular time in the most efficient way. One of the things that you should be doing from right at the beginning of your degree is reading broadly and deeply. Now, historically, doing a degree was called reading for a degree. You weren't studying for a degree, you weren't enrolled on a degree, you were reading for a degree. Now, what that means is that baked into the culture of higher education is this philosophy, this tradition of reading texts. At this point in time, you have access to lots and lots of information, whether they are printed texts through journal articles or books, or online texts like ebooks or online subscriptions to academic journals. your university library will have access to lots of different resources that you can access. It may be that your lecturers are giving you lots of recommended reading. Make sure you do that reading and make sure that you are trying to understand the types of constructs that are within those papers. If you can really read broadly and deeply, that will supplement the material that you're being taught in your classes, because at the end of the day, the lecturers in your classes can only cover the basics of a particular topic. They've spent years studying their area of expertise, and trying to distill that within a 1 or 2 hour lecture is really difficult. So they are only scratching the surface in those lectures, and for you to be able to demonstrate that you have the deep knowledge of that topic will require you to read lots of extra information, lots of extra readings. So making sure that when you're working in those deep work sessions that you are reading broadly, reading widely, and trying to understand and make links between different sources is going to be really important to maximising your effectiveness when you get to assessment times. Now, one factor that seems to be a little bit of an issue potentially for some students is group work. This is something that you will encounter lots during your degree, particularly if you're working on a degree that has quite a big cohort. So if you have lots of people on your degree, chances are in some of the sessions you'll be asked to work with different people on your cohort. Now, this is both an opportunity for you to develop new skills and also to maximise your efficiency, but also comes with some challenges. It might be that some members of your group maybe don't pull their weight as much as you would like them to. Now, what this does is it gives you the opportunity to develop soft skills in terms of conflict resolution, in terms of project management, taking a leadership role in your group, to try to think about how you might delegate tasks, how you might monitor performance, all of which you can use when you finish your degree as evidence of you developing interpersonal skills that are really highly sought after by employers. Now, within groups, obviously what you can do is you can start to maximize your productivity even more in terms of delegating tasks, in terms of sharing out responsibilities, which means that you can all work a little bit less on an overall project and then pool all of your resources, all of your thoughts together to produce something that is really meaningful at the end of that task. Make sure that you're making most use of these group tasks, these group settings, because ultimately the better you can work in a group, the more value you're going to get from a lot of these different modules that make use of group work. Now, in terms of making the most of your degree, what that ultimately means for a lot of people is achieving well in assessments. Now, there are lots of different types of assessments that you will be encountering as part of your degree. The first and kind of most obvious one are essays. Lots of degrees will make use of essays to test the depth of your knowledge and the breadth of your reading. So this is where the importance of reading really comes to the fore in terms of essays, formulating an argument and thinking through how you can make links between different sources. You've also got things like exams. Exams are more recall-based assessments. So can you remember key facts about a particular topic? Can you formulate an argument based on those basic facts? There'll also be things like lab reports, which is where you'll be able to showcase your research abilities. You might have portfolios that will be able to give you the chance to demonstrate the skills that you've developed, the academic skills that you've developed through the course of your degree as well. The type of assessment that really challenges people, though, are presentations. Now, presentations are really important because they give you the chance to practice talking about a particular topic. If you can do this well, then this is a really employable skill that you will be able to demonstrate to people who are looking to hire you after your degree. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to look for examples of good presentation skills. There's a YouTube channel for the TED Talks series. These tend to be 15 to 20 minutes long, but these are the world's experts at giving really impactful, really meaningful presentations. So have a look at the style that they use, think about how you can maybe adapt your style to those, and then think about how you can develop your confidence, maybe by doing practice runs, working in groups, having study skills groups maybe would be really useful for you to practice talking about research, talking about topics. The more practice you have talking about these kinds of things, the better you're going to be, the more confident you're going to be when it comes to giving a presentation. Ultimately, giving a presentation, if you can stand up and you have the confidence to talk about something, then you've overcome the major hurdle that lots of students will encounter. Now, one key skill that you'll have to develop throughout the course of your degree, and this is something that will take time to develop, is the skill of engaging critically with your topic area. Now, lots and lots of different assessments will ask you to critically evaluate a particular statement, a particular question, a particular proposition. Now, you can do that in a couple of different ways. The most basic way that people do this typically is by writing about everything they know in relation to a particular topic, and then looking at the studies that maybe support or refute a particular proposition and thinking about the strengths and limitations of those studies. Now, that's one way of being critically evaluative, just looking at the strengths and limitations of individual studies. But that's quite a low level of critical evaluation. If you really want to engage in high level critical evaluation, what you should be thinking about are the links between different studies, weighing up the strength of the evidence for a particular proposition versus its alternative. Thinking about the weight of the evidence. Is there more evidence for one proposition than another? Are there certain traits within the evidence basis for each of those propositions that might indicate why there's support for one argument rather than another? If someone was to test a particular proposition in a slightly different way, might they get a different response or a different answer or come to a different conclusion? If you can start to think more critically about areas of research like this, then you're going to be really impressing your markers and really thinking about topics in a more critically evaluative way that we would expect maybe at master's level or in published work. If you can demonstrate that at undergraduate level, and that's a skill that probably won't come until midway through your second or third year maybe, but you'll be really hitting those critical evaluation points by the time it really matters, when those credits become really well weighted towards your final degree classification. And finally, in our course, what we do is we cover our 6 steps to effective essay writing. We talk you through why it's important to know what your conclusion is, how it's important to build an argument, how you can stay focused on essay questions. The key thing that we see lots of students do is when they get an essay question is to write everything that they know about that particular topic, and there's no real focus to it, there's no real argument to it. And if you're doing that, you're probably going to pass because you're demonstrating an awareness of the topic area, but ultimately you're not going to be getting the higher grades because you're not building an argument that is convincing to your marker. You're not focused on a particular topic. We also talk about the importance of keeping your work simple. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and write in a really academic way, because ultimately, if you try and complicate the language, it will hide the meaning that is within your essay. So try and write at a relatively intelligent level, but don't try and over intellectualize the writing that you are producing. So these are our kind of core ideas, and there will be another video that you can check out with our core 6 ideas for effective essay writing that will be on the YouTube channel very soon. So that's an overview of some of the topics that will be covered in our Introduction to University Life course. If you find value in this video in particular, if you want to give us a like or a subscribe, or if you want to comment on what you wish you'd known at the beginning of your university degree, that would be really useful for us and really helpful for other people watching this video and other people starting university. If you want more in-depth discussions though of each of these topics, head over to our website and you can get access to the full course over there. If you want to learn more, you can check out our courses at the website. That's iProgress-cc.com/courses.